Followed the previous tutorial and downloaded the complete code from the GitHub link below in the video description. And if you installed it, you should see a code or a view like this where you can slide left and right like this. Okay, so this is what you should have in your code if you run it. And in this tutorial, we want to achieve a result like this where you will have text for each slide. Okay, like go for Australia, and we'll also a bar over here like this. So as you change them or click on them, the bar changes as well, and you can hover over the menu like this. And eventually we'll also see how to make it responsive. Okay, how to make it responsive like this. Okay, and we'll be able to use this in our mobile app as well. Right now it's in the browser. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here is my code from the previous tutorial, and it's also the code from the GitHub link. So if you download it, you should be able to see something like this. Okay, so if you didn't follow the previous video tutorial, let me walk you through. In previous tutorial, we had these images which we saw early, and for each image we had corresponding names, and then we have generated image widgets dynamically, 6 image widgets based on these images. And then these widgets we have used in our main container, and this container is responsible for making the carousel slider, and this slider is coming from the plugin. So if you downloaded the code, it should be there, and just to run Flutter get pub, it should get the plugin automatically. And then we set up some options. Okay, and today we want to set up one more option that's called autoplay, and we will set it to true. Okay, autoplay true. And we also had this text over here, as you can see. Okay, the text we saw early, which sits in the center of the image. Okay, and we have done that using our another widget which is called aspect ratio, like that. Okay, now we'll run this latest code. In this latest code, I've just added this thing, autoplay true. Everything else stays the same. So let's go ahead and run it, and eventually it'll run the browser again. So it'll run the browser, and once it runs the browser, we should be able to see things like that, but not with this one. So we'll achieve these things in our tutorial now. Okay, so let's wait for the browser to get started. All right, well, let it load. Okay, so here's loading. And until it's complete, let's see another file that's also in the GitHub folder, like this file, responsive.dart. Basically, this is responsible for getting you the screen size, whatever the screen you're using right now. So that size. So in this tutorial, we'll be using this responsive widget, and basically we'll focus on mobile device. So we'll call this function. This function is responsible for getting you the true or false for the screen size. So if it's less than 800 pixels, so that's more like a mobile screen. So we'll focus on mobile screen. So if it's something is more than 800 pixels, so it'll return you the mobile screen, and which is the condition is true. Okay, all right, now let's go ahead our file carousel.dart. All right, and now let's see our latest result in the browser, which is most probably this one, right? This one. Okay, so this one. So we'll put it aside over here so that we can see what's happening at the same time. All right, yeah, so it would be over here. So the first thing we want to do, we want to stop this autoplay. I find it's annoying sometimes, and now we'll do R, so it will reload everything. So yeah, perfect. So the first thing we want to show is this thing. So if you look at it carefully, you'd see that this is a card over here, and it has some elevation. So the first thing we want to do, we want to draw a card. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. All right, so we'll do it over here. All right, so now let's see, we'll call this widget, which is called responsive widget, and then it is a function. This function returns something. This function is a small screen, and we send it to the context, and then we check if it returns true or not, If it returns true, then we do something. All right, so what it returns, if it returns true, for now we'll just do container. Okay, otherwise we'll use another container which is aspect ratio. Okay, and we'll set aspect ratio 17:8. All right, okay, so that's all we have now. So which means if the screen is small, we will not show anything because this is an empty container, which we'll do later, which we will delete later. So first we'll build this carousel slider, or the dots for mobile browser, and then we'll focus on we'll first focus for browser, computer browser or desktop browser, then we'll focus for app or mobile browser. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So it takes aspect ratio. The first thing we want to do, we want to draw a child here, and this child would be card, and the card will have elevation. So let's put it elevation 5. Let's hit R, so it should reload everything. And yes, here we see, so this is our carousel, and now this is the card, but it's way too big. We want size like this. Okay, all right, so how to deal with this thing? Well, we'll deal with that later. First, display something on this card. So we'll use a child over here, and this child is a text child, and we'll put something here, so test. All right, now let's hit R, so it'll reload, so it's over there. Okay, now we want to put some padding around this text, or padding around the card. Okay, so we'll wrap this this one around, this will wrap padding widget. Okay, so we don't want it hit the top, so let's hit alter enter, and then it will ask you that if you can insert a widget or not. So this one, and over here we want to put some padding, so let's call edge insets only. So we'll do top, left and right, and the top and bottom like that. Okay, the first thing, let's put something on the left and right. Okay, so because it's way too on the left. Okay, so let's go ahead and check it. So we'll do left and screen size dot width by 8, and right screen size dot width by 8. Okay, now this screen size is the variable which we have early declared at the top over here, this one. So it's coming from media query, which gives us the size of the screen, width and height. So that's what we're using right now. Okay, now let's hit R and see the result. Okay, perfect. Now it's getting much smaller, but it's yet too big, the height, right? So we want to control that. So to control that, there are many different ways we can do it. For now, we'll use a widget that is called center widget. So this padding widget would be wrapped around center widget, because center widget just takes the width or the size of the thing inside the widget. So that for test. So test would be inside our card, and card would be inside padding, and padding would be inside center widget. So center widget eventually would be the same as the size of this word over here. So let's wrap it around with center widget. So we'll do center over here, and now let's hit R and see the result. Now we'll see, yes, it's much smaller now, as you can see from here. Okay, too small, right? So, and that's what we wanted. We don't want our indicator or the menu bar to be so big, right? Okay, so that's a good one. And now it's in the middle, so we want to put it down. So to do that, we could wrap this padding again around another widget. So let's hit alter, I guess alter enter in Windows, and in Mac it's option enter. Now let's wrap it around another widget. So we need to type it manually. We'll call it align widget, and with this we can find the alignment for this. So we'll call alignment dot bottom center. Okay, now let's hit R. Okay, it's loading and a bit slow. Okay, perfect. So it's right over there. So that's what we want. Okay, so things are working as we expected. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is over here, set some padding for this text around the text. Okay, so what we could do here? So over here we can wrap it around padding widget. Okay, but we just want top and bottom. Okay, so we'll do edge insert only say top. Now again, screen size dot height, say whatever the screen size, we'll take 1/80th 1/50th of it, and bottom say screen size height 50. Okay, now let's hit R and see the result. Okay, so it's now there should be a little bit of space there. Okay, and okay, now we want to add some padding around this text. Okay, now we want to add some padding around this text. So let's wrap it around padding widget. And we want to add the padding on the top and bottom. So we'll do edge insets dot only. We'll do top, say screen size dot height by 50. On the bottom, screen size dot height by 50. Okay. All right, now let's hit R and see the result. Okay, so now it's getting some height and width. Okay, so we are happy with that. Okay, now what else we could do? Now, well, there's only one word, right? So we want to do a lot of words or menus over here. So now we want to take care of that one. So to do that, we can wrap this widget, text widget, around a row widget, because we want to put many text one after another. Okay, so let's do it. So we'll add a widget and we'll call it row. Right? Yeah. Now, of course, row should have children, and now we'll move this inside children list. Let us remove this one. Okay. Now let's see what happens. So hit R. Okay, perfect. But now, because there's only one item in the row, so it's just showing us one. So we can apply a for loop over here. Okay, let's do a for loop. For int I equals 0 and I less than or equal to places dot length I plus plus. And if you don't know where is this places coming from, as I said early, at the top, this is the places list, and this has to do with the image. Each image has a unique name, as you can see from here. So that's the list over here, and we are going to look through it. And as we look through it, we'll show the names over here. So we'll call places I, and it should be good enough. Let's hit R. Okay, perfect. So now we are seeing the name, but they're colliding with each other or too close. That's because we need to call another property over here, which is called main axis alignment, and main axis alignment dot space evenly. So it should solve our problem. Hit R. Looks like it didn't, because let's see, space evenly. Let's try one more time. I'm not sure, it didn't reload just now. I'm not sure why, but anyway, so now this is what we have right now. So this is the big picture, as you can see. Okay, so it's looking much better now how we started, right? Okay, so now this is what we have, and looks like it's working. So the next thing we want to do is showing this underline over here, right? So let's go ahead and do it. To show underline, we want to show the underline right below the text. Okay, so text and the underline should be together. So we should use this widget, which is called visibility. Okay, but visibility and text should be wrapped around another widget, which is called column widget. So let's go ahead and call this, and we'll call this widget column. Okay, and we don't need this child property anymore. Now within it, we'll call visibility. I guess we also need to call the list over here, which is children, yeah, like this one. And what do we do? Let's see, this is our column, and we'd move this one within it. Okay, perfect. So now what we'll do visibility, and it takes a child. First we'll use container over here, and within it we'll set the width and height. Say height is 5 pixel, and width, we can do it from screen size dot width by say 40. Okay, and then we'll do decoration, so box decoration, so that we can set up color and border radius. So we'll do border radius dot circular, say 5 pixels, and then we'll set up color for this, so we'll call colors dot blue. Okay, perfect. So now let's go ahead and hit and see the result. Okay, now it's way too big. What happened, because we have used this property or widget called column, and column mismatches with others because it takes all the available space. So we can handle this thing. How we could do that? We can call another property. It's called main axis size, and we'll use the main axis dot min, so which will take the smallest or littlest space possible. So now let's hit R. Perfect. So it's gone. So now everything is working, but now this underline should not be everywhere. It should be only with the one that's selected. For now, the first one is selected, and others, they should not be visible. Okay, right? So to do that, we can use a condition over here. Okay, so within visibility widget, we can set up a condition. Okay, now this condition should be coming from the top first, okay, over here. So as we slide through it, so we can keep track of the index using this index keyword. So we'll check it from here. Okay, first we'll use a for loop, and we'll call int I equal 0 and I image sliders dot length and I plus plus. Okay, and we'll use this for loop. Of course, we can use here places list. It's the same thing. Now we'll check if I equal index, which means whatever in the loop, this index I and the current sliding index, this one, if they're same, then we'll set is selected I equal true. Okay, else is selected I false. Okay, all right. Now what is this is selected? Let's take a look. So it's selected has been declared at the top over here, as you can see. Okay, so it's selected is keeping track whether what you are clicking on this slider or over here, or which slider is being played currently for that one. So the default one is true, and which refers to the first slide, which is .asia.jpj and this one. Okay, so now we are keeping track of that one. So it, as the slider that changes, because we are sliding through them, so the index is being changed, and index is being changed, we can set the condition over here, and we can read that condition later down the code. Okay, so for it, when the matches the sliding index and the for loop index I, if the match, we set it to true, otherwise we set it to false. Now we can use this condition over here. All right, so it is a property called visibility. Okay, and for within this we can supply this condition over here, which is I. And if you don't know where is this I coming from, this I is coming from this for loop over here. Okay, now let's run the code. Yes, now others, because they are not selected, or false, so that's why we don't see them there. So the next thing we could do, we can apply our autoplay at the top, which is this one, and then we'll see that it's working the way we expected. Okay, now it's loading, so let's take a good look. All right, as you see, the slider changes and the hover over space changes, and it goes up a little bit, which means that it's being played currently. Okay, so this is what is working perfectly with us, and that's what we wanted. Okay, so now what we could do? We can do another thing. We can put up a little bit padding with this thing. And right now it's too close to the text. All right, so what we could do, we can find our text over here and put a padding. So where is our text? Let's see. So our text is over here. So we can wrap this on around padding widget. So let's call padding, and over here we want to pad top and bottom. So edge insets dot only top, say we could do screen size dot height by 80. So very little, it based on the screen size, and bottom screen size height even more little. Okay, so now let's hit R and see the result. Okay, so now we have a little bit space over here, as you can see. Okay, yeah, so that's what we wanted. All right, now let's shorten the screen size and see the result. So as you see, as we are scrolling down, so the size is changing, and it's too small, less than 800, then it's gone, it's invisible. Okay, so that's what we wanted. Okay, so perfect. So our slider and this one, this indicators, they are all very responsive. Okay, so next we'll focus how to show this thing on the mobile. So now let's go ahead and see on the mobile. So we'll run it on the mobile. Okay, well, this might be the previous one. Yes, so on the mobile, as you see, it's still working, but we don't see the sliders. Okay, so to see that, we can use a very easy way. We don't need to rewrite everything. Okay, we don't need to rewrite everything. All we could do, we could copy paste this section and modify it a little bit. Okay, so right now on the mobile, it's the empty container, but this is not what we want to show. We want to show this one. Okay, so both of them are aspect ratio. So this is for small screen and this is for desktop. Okay, now let's run it on the desktop. Okay, right, but now as you see, this text is way over this width. So the first thing we want to do, we don't want to show this text over here on the mobile phone. Okay, all we want to do, we want to show just a dot. Okay, dot. Okay, now let's run it. Perfect, so that's gone, right? Okay, now we want to put it down a little bit. Okay, it's over the image and blocking it, right? So we can do it easily. So find where we can adjust this one. Let's go ahead and do it. Change the aspect ratio, and let's run it on the mobile and see. Okay, now, well, it looks like it came down. So let's do, say, 12. Okay, it came down much more, so that's what we wanted, right? Okay, now there are a few other problems though. On the mobile phone, we don't want to see this card, right? What we could do on the mobile phone, the few things we could do, this padding, this paddings, we can change the paddings, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and change the paddings to 0, on the bottom padding to 0, and let's Control S. Okay, perfect, right? So it's become much smaller, but yet this is not what we want. So what we could do, we can take care of this elevation, and now it's 0. Now it's gone, perfect. But again, it's too down. So what we could do, we can play around with this value as long as you are satisfied. Okay, let's play with 14 and let's see the result. Okay, much better. So it's coming closer, right? Yeah. And now this left and right, so they're too much separated, as you can see, the space. So we can handle that one. We can do 3 by 3 and let's see the result. Okay, so here we are. Here is our customized indicator for mobile phone. And now the same code, if you run it for browser, you'll see that it's not affecting the mobile over here. Okay, so where is your browser? Let's see. Well, hopefully this one. Okay, so on the mobile phone, it's working as we on browser, it's working as we expected, and on the mobile phone, this is also working as we expected. And this one, as you see, it's also responsive right now on the browser. Okay, yeah, so it's up to you how you use it. Okay, so hopefully from this one you learned something, and if you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button. And next we'll see how to click on them. how to click on them and view different slides. Okay, so if you liked it, please don't forget to subscribe and share the video. Thank you.